Hello, everybody. Angel Arts here, and once again, I am hanging out and speaking with some of our candidates, getting to know them. For people who are vying for a position in my Mass Effect Tabletop RPG campaign, everyone, this is Mistiannyi. Say hi, Mistiannyi.
Hi, everyone.
So let's get down to business then. What is it about the Mass Effect universe that interests you?
Oh my, everything. Well, basically, I love the setting because I've always loved science fiction, and I love this sort of a retro pulp feeling of it's new, but it's still sort of like the old vision of what science fiction should be and everything like that. And I love that sort of feeling. It's lived in, and all the characters are amazing. You have amazing alien races and all that stuff.
What is it about tabletop gaming or role playing that interests you?
Stories and character interaction and character development. It's so much fun to just play off each other and see where you end up and what sort of shenanigans you can get up to and where the story will take you. I love exploring stories, and role playing is such a good way of doing that.
Miss Tiani, why do you believe you would be a good fit for my DMing style?
Because as I said, I like exploring stories, and you weave stories so very well that I like what you do with it, and you seem to be able to lead the players in a very good way without being overhanded about it and just you need to go there. You don't do that kind of thing. It's like, oh, maybe you should. And it's the light nudging, and you let the players explore quite a lot, and I like that.
What do you believe makes you a good person to play with the other gamers?
I guess it's because I usually play a little bit of quirky characters, but I always tend to try to play off the other people, and I always try to engage with the other players because I think that's a fun experience just to have a conversation, and that's really fun. So I think that's my strength.
So now we're going to move on to the in character. We're going to be role playing. So let me set up this scene for you. Let us pretend for a moment that your character is, for one reason or another, trying to apply for a position to be the member of a crew of a very well renowned ship. You can decide for yourself what purpose this ship or crew is for, whether it is military or commercial or industrial or entertainment, whatever it is that you think makes the most sense for your character concept. You have an appointment with a human gentleman by the name of Liam Vathanuel Musey. You don't have to remember and memorize that name right now, but if you do get chosen, that name might have more significance in the story. And no relation to the other Liam in the other story. I just like his name. I just like the name Liam. Anyway, he is a headhunter of sorts that acts as a go-between various crew members and captains and their ship and candidates who are interested in applying to be a part of their crew. He has an office in one of the highest high-rises in the Citadel. So, you make your way to the Citadel and you take a lovely elevator ride up the building, probably about as entertaining as the elevator rides in Mass Effect 1. And then you manage to find yourself in the main office where Mr. Liam Musey has told you he works at. There is a lady at the front desk. She looks up and she flashes you a warm smile and she asks, Hello, may I help you? Uh, Sir, ma'am? She isn't quite sure if she can tell your gender.
I just shake my head a little bit. And, Ma'am will be fine. I'm here to see Liam for an
Oh,
appointment.
my apologies, she says. I'm afraid I don't get to interact very often with Krogan. She blushes a bit and then she looks through her papers and she says, uh, Misty, yes, you're the 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for being on time. Please, right this way, and she will escort you down the hall. For the viewers' benefit, Mistiannyi, could you please give us a physical description of your character, including race, which I've already given away, but you can say it again.
I'm a fairly big, hulking krogan with dark, sort of interlocking head plates. A little bit like Rex, but they're slightly smoother. And I'm most likely in half armor, just the breastplate maybe, and that kind of thing, just to not alert C-Sec and whatever to me being around, I guess. So basically a dark colored greenish armor, breastplate, just trying to look not as intimidating as possible, just to get through everything smoothly.
All right, and you are female. Female.
I am
Krogan.
female
I
indeed.
love female Krogans. All right. So the lady takes you across the hall, and she will eventually lead you to a very well decorated office, furnished with extremely cushy seats. There is the faint smell of lavender, the faint scent of lavender as you walk into the room. And seated at the main desk is a very well-dressed human man in an orange pinstripe suit, his hair slicked back. He looks up towards your direction and he flashes you one of the most perfect human smiles you've ever seen in your life. And he gets up and walks over to you saying, Misty, Miss Misty, what a such a pleasure to have you. We've been expecting you. And he holds out his hand for a shake.
I sort of hesitate a little bit, then hold out my hand and take his and shake it.
He says, I'm glad you are if I may be quite frank, my lady, I'm very glad that you are of the female variety, because I am very well accustomed to Krogan male greetings, and the last time I greeted one with a swift headbutt, it didn't quite work out for me for the rest of the day, he says as he rubs his forehead.
Well, I can see why. You humans are rather soft, I must admit.
Indeed we are. There's no, I can't argue with that. Please, have a seat, he says.
I awkwardly try to take a seat.
Miss Misty, he says, can I offer you a drink? What would be your beverage of choice, my dear?
I don't really drink when I'm after a job, so a glass of water, if anything. And you can just drop the miss. I'm not a miss. And you and I both know it, so it's fine.
Very well, fair enough. Water, bottled, tap, or sparkling?
Take your pick.
You strike me as a tap person. He snaps his fingers, and one of his assistants walks out from an adjoining room. Jeanette, could you please go get this fine lady water, please? Tap water. Certainly, Miss Yuzi. And she leaves. All right, Misty, let's get down to business, shall we? So that we can get through this as quickly as possible, and you can be off on your merry little way. So according to your resume, you are currently working as a mercenary.
That is quite correct.
What is it that made you decide to pursue this occupation?
Well, I'm good at fighting, and the numbskulls back at home can't choose a fight worth a damn, so I figured I'd fight my own battles.
Fair enough. So then let me ask you, what is it that you believe you can contribute specifically to this crew and their ship?
Well, I'm a little bit more cool-headed than my male counterparts, but I still pack quite the punch, if I do say so myself. So I think it's quite obvious what I can contribute.
What perhaps is your weapon of choice? What do you specialize in?
I do like me the assault rifles. They pack nice punch. But I can do with a shotgun when needed.
So let me flip this question around. What are you personally hoping to get out of your experience with this crew?
Well, it seems they go interesting places, and it's always nice to see new parts of this lovely little universe of ours.
All right, all right. The next thing I wanted to ask you, Misty, is I will be presenting with you with some hypothetical questions, if you will. None of these questions necessarily have a right or wrong answer. I just want to throw them up at you, specific scenarios, and you can describe for me how you would handle such a situation. Does that make sense?
Yes,
All
I
right.
suppose so.
All right, let's begin with scenario number one. Let us say for a moment, Misty, that you indeed are chosen and selected to be a member of this crew. Let us say that at some point during your travels, the ship crash lands on a foreign planet of which neither you nor anyone else on the crew is particularly familiar with. The ship itself is in great need of repair, and therefore you, the captain, and several of your armed crew members go off into the wilderness to go searching for something that might help you with repairs. While you're out there in the wilderness, you are attacked and held up by a group of bandits who are all demanding your credits. The bandits consist of a dozen Vorcha, let's say half with pistols, half with assault rifles, one massive berserking male krogan with a shotgun, one Asari whom, as far as you can tell, is completely unarmed, and the last thing that you notice at the corner of your eye is a tiny red dot that is hovering on the forehead of your captain. What do you do at this point, Misty?
Well, I guess covering the captain would be a nice move because I would suppose that he knows how to talk to people. Otherwise, he wouldn't be where he is. So I guess covering him, making sure that that's the annoying little red dot doesn't touch him, because that would be a first step. Then you can always see if the numbskull Krogan would be interested in having a chat, because they seem to do that whenever us females are involved for whatever reason. I would not know why.
Let's say that you are able to successfully cover your captain and you begin to engage in a conversation with the Krogan. What would you how would you begin the conversation? Just out of curiosity.
Well, let's see. Why are you here? And why are you with those numbskulls? They don't seem to be able to fight worth a damn.
We'll say that that specific male Krogan is not particularly bright, and we will say that him and his crew are demanding credits because he claims that they needed to survive. Things in this planet is very harsh, and uh, they are it's survival of the fittest out here. That's just the way this planet works.
Well, I can respect that, I guess, but why not get out of there if needs are so dire? There are many other worlds that are much more hospitable.
If
For
they
one.
have if they have enough credits, maybe they would be able to get off this planet if they desired to. Like your credits.
Well, considering we just crashed, I don't think that we have that much credits lying around with us, not considering we're out on scouting mission, I guess.
Let us say that the Asari gets very impatient while you are speaking with the Krogan, and she will give another ultimatum: either give your credits now or they will open fire. Let us say that the captain will attempt to negotiate with them, but while he is negotiating with them, behind his back, unbeknownst to the rest of the bandits, again because they're not particularly bright, he gives you some sort of signal that all of you recognize as a signal to get ready to begin a fight. When the bandits have their guard down, he will signal you to attack. At this point, which person or persons do you focus on first, and why?
I guess I would go for the Asari because everyone knows an unarmed Asari is never unarmed. You never know what they are up to. So I'd rather go for her, and considering she seems to be the most impatient one, Vorcha are just little numbskulls anyway, so they
Okay.
can't, they can't hit worth a damn. So I'd go for the Asari.
Let's say that the Asari is less versed in barriers and shields, and her expertise is more with manipulating, lifting, and throwing objects. What would be your strategy in taking her down, or at least incapacitating her?
I'd try to shoot her, considering it would be easier to bypass it by shooting than rather than running at her. Not gonna risk getting thrown off my ass by some Asari.
All right. Let's say that you are successfully able to incapacitate the Asari. Who would you go after next, and why?
Well, as I said, I don't think the Vorcha pose most of the problem. I think even humans can take care of those. So I'd go for my counterpart, I guess, and see if I can take down the other krogan. Would be a worthy match.
What would be your strategy against the krogan? He seems to enjoy using a shotgun, but he seems to favor more hand to hand, charging and tackling and that kind of strategy.
Well, considering everyone likes a good fist fight, I suppose I wouldn't give him one because that would make him even angrier, and that would lead to mistakes, and that's a good thing for my part.
So you would keep your distance still.
Yes, keep my distance and keep shooting.
All right.
Eventually he'll misplay.
Okay. Let us say that with the combination of your combat prowess as well as the teamwork of your crew, they have been in fights before. This is nothing that they are not able to handle. Your crew is able to sustain a few injuries, but nothing lethal. Meanwhile, you are able to overpower the rest of the bandits, and they eventually raise their hands up and surrender. If it were up to you and not the captain, what would you have happen next?
I'd knock a few of them senseless and then have the rest of them lead us to wherever they hang out because they probably have materials.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Misty. Let's move on to scenario number 2. Let's say, Misty, that you instead are a witness to a crime. Let's say that you witness a man robbing a bank. But instead of keeping the money for himself, the man donates it to a poor orphanage that can now afford to feed, clothe, and care for its children. Now you know who committed the crime. If you were to go to the authorities with the information, there's a good chance that the money will be returned back to the bank, leaving a lot of the children in need. What do you do?
Well, considering he didn't get caught otherwise, why not just leave him to it? I don't see any point of reporting it. The banks have their credits anyway, so why not give some to the poor people, I guess?
All right. Those are the hypothetical questions, and I have one more question for you, Misty, and that is this. Red, blue, or green?
I look down towards my armor. Green, I would guess.
And why did you choose green out of those colors?
It's one of the few things we don't have on Tachanka.
Makes sense. All right. We are just about done here, Misty, but there is one final thing. If you would just look towards the camera over there, we will be recording this and sending this directly to the captain and crew of the ship. Please provide for them now your pitch as to why they should select you to be a member of their team.
Well, I guess that I am strong as any other male krogan, so I'm a good shield, I'm a good shot, I know what I'm doing, and I can stay cold-headed rather than the hot-headed numbskulls that you're probably used to.